Guy Talk Radio, the Doug Stewart Show. Boy, y'all, as my grandmama would say, y'all are a mess. But you know what? I like this, man. Phenomenal job in the chat room today. Phenomenal job. For the most part, good. In a significant part, not so good, but in relative terms, man. This is why I say this is the most interactive sports and guy talk show in America. I'm looking at some of y'all comments in this chat room, man. Y'all are a mess. Wow. And, you know, we normally, for the most part, we use the third hour, the power hour, where we can read a lot of chat. I wanted to mention one more thing before we jump back into the chat for the last 30 minutes of the show. The same guy that I talked about earlier that gave the story or wrote the story about the Patriots and their, you know, why people across this country, sports fans, don't like the Patriots. The same guy, Chris Chase, wrote an article, what's today's date? Yesterday. Came out yesterday on Fox Sports as well, where he ranked he's the hardest working man in Super Bowl history. He says he ranks all 50 Super Bowl champions from best to worst. Okay? So I'm not going to talk about all 50 of his, but I will run through the top 10. His top 10 ranked Super Bowl winning teams. You know, this year is Super Bowl 51, so he actually went back from the worst Super Bowl winning team all the way to the best. And his list goes as follows. Coming in at number 10 was the Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl 31. That was Brett Favre's Super Bowl. He didn't win the MVP that year. That was actually the year that Desmond Howard won the MVP. But Favre came away with the distinction far more important. The most outstanding gunslinger player like a kid out there ever. That's what he writes about Brett Favre. So he has the Packers, the 96 Packers at number 10. Number 9, he has the 73 Dolphins, the better of the Dolphins, back-to-back champs despite the 2 blemishes on their record. And there's a lot of people that say, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, there's a lot of people say that actually the team after the 72 year was the better team. Super Bowl 8, the 73 Dolphins, not the 72 Dolphins. Number 8, he has the 78 Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 13. The team had 10 Hall of Famers on it. Posted the most wins by any of the 6 Steelers games to win it all. Number 7, he has the Green Bay Packers, the 66 Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl 1. The 62 Packers were the greatest of the Lombardi era, but alas, they won their title before the Super Bowl existed. All right. The game's first winner was probably Lombardi's second-best team, losing 2 games by 4 points and dominating the AFL's Chiefs in the debut of America's greatest sporting event thanks to hungover Max McGee reeling in Bart Starr's touchdown. Number 6, he had the 98 Denver Broncos. Ugh, that's the team that beat the Falcons. That was a good-ass team, though, and that was Super Bowl 32. After 3 blowout losses in 4 seasons, John Elway's Broncos went on a Super Bowl sabbatical for 8 years. Along came Terrell Davis, who rushed for 100 yards in each of his 7 career playoff games, reached 2,000 yards in 98, scored 21 touchdowns, and was named NFL MVP. Number 5 on this guy Chris Chase's list is the 84 San Francisco 49ers. This team actually was it was the team that didn't have Jerry Rice on it. The 84 team almost had perfection, had held down Dan Marino in a record-setting season that was as good as it ever get for the MVP, and talking about Joe Montana. The 84 San Francisco 49ers, number 4, the 92 Dallas Cowboys. I don't need to say nothing about them. Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, just a dominant team. That 92 Dallas Cowboys team was phenomenal. That was Super Bowl 28, I believe it is, with all these Roman numerals. The third team that he had, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, was the 85 Chicago Bears. Yes, sir. Ooh. Man, that 85 team, man, Mike Singletary, Wilbur Marshall, Richard Dent, the offense. I mean, Walter Payton, obviously, Refrigerator Perry on that defensive line, man. That 85 Bears team, most people regard as the best defensive, team in NFL history. But that 85 team was phenomenal. Really, their weak part was the quarterback, Jim McMahon. He was kind of like the weak, link in that team. But despite Jim McMahon, man, that team would win a Super Bowl today. I mean, in today's football. The number 2 team he had was the 89 San Francisco 49ers, coached by George Seifert. And his number 1 team was the 91 Washington Redskins. Football team from D.C. Yeah. He says, why are the 91 Redskins, who are within a Hail Mary and a drop touchdown catch by a lineman in a meaningless Week 17 game of being undefeated, so overlooked? Easily the most underrated team in NFL history. It is because they're basically a one-hit wonder. I'm sure this was the third of 3 championships under Joe Gibbs, but because each of those had a different quarterback, running back, and other various cast members, there's no frame or reference with the others. And so he makes the argument that the 91 Redskins, the 91 football team from D.C., was the greatest Super Bowl champion of all times. Now, I went back and looked at some of the other teams, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Some of the other teams that I think that he may have underestimated or not given enough credit to, and these are some of the more recent teams. 2014, that Seattle Seahawks team was dominant on every aspect of a game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. I think maybe they should get some love. Maybe they are probably, in that 10 to 20 range in his rankings. And another team that comes to mind, man, and I don't know how you could miss this team, and I do need to go back and look and see where they actually did fall. That 2001 Baltimore Ravens team that won Super Bowl 35, phenomenal. Wow. That Baltimore Ravens, that first Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens team, man, was dominant as hell. And once again, their quarterback was kind of like the weak part of the team, kind of like the Bears with Jim McMahon, where they had Trent Dilfer was behind the center. But offensively, defensively, special teams, legendary players, man. That Ravens team was the lick. They were definitely the lick, man. Good little stuff right there and talking about the Super Bowl. Let me jump back into the chat. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Read some of these messages from KC. He says, P. Cola 3 going at Kobe like talking about Miss Jenkins on Living Color. Don't say nothing bad about Kobe. Hell no. Once again, for the record now, I'm a Laker fan. I'm a Kobe fan second. And I'm even lesser of a fan of Kobe Bryant the person. Just to set the record straight, because we got new people listen to the show all the time. That being said, the problem I had with bringing up Kobe Bryant and bunkie stabbing and all of that is it was 15 years ago. Like, where did that come from? That was so unnecessary. Then somebody, P-Cola 3, back in the chat room for the first time in a while, looks like he comes in talking about the man got some family over in the Virgin Islands or somewhere like that. That's not necessary. From J. Clyde Censored, he says, now when this failed test for Bolt comes back in about 5 years, I don't want to hear none of the Stewies talking about the media trying to bring the black man down. Exactly. Once again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it very well might. It very well might. It's very suspect. That's all that I've said. From Deacon Dell, I think Picola right. Whole bunch of Dominican kids with Kobe jerseys on in the pic. Ain't no damn TV down there. How did he know about him unless he their daddy? What? Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. From James, the big truck driver. Damn, Tiffany, you went in. Not like Kobe, though. Laugh out loud. Here we go. From Miss Mocabella, tell Tom Brady don't leave his pregnant baby mama for another woman who goes by the name of Giselle Bundchen. Oh, he already did that. I talked about that earlier. From Big L, T-Dub, Kobe did say Shaq did it too. Really? You bringing up the whole Shaq? He got stopped by the police and he told the police that Shaq does it with his side pieces? Really? You bringing that up? Can you just let the man retire in peace, not rest in